All right, all right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas. Welcome to another episode of the Dad Podcast. I'm Deja Vu. I got Bugsy in the building, and today we have a very special guest in the building with us. I'll allow Bimbo to do all the intros. Bimbo, do you want to introduce our guest, or we should just, you know?
Yeah. So what up? This is episode 33. Uh as you know, I'm your favorite host, Bimbala, aka Bugsy. Uh I got my very good friend, business partner in the house today. He's a special guest. His name is Ray and Dolly. Ray, how you doing today, brother?
Oh, young black and highly favored. So I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
That's
Great,
what's
great.
up. That's what's up.
Great, great,
hmm
great. So, usually when we start the pod, we usually do some mental checks just to see where everybody's at, mentally. Because in this world we're living in right now, there's a lot of mental stress. So just to check in, is everybody good? Because we don't want none of our friends to just drop dead, and so we just want to check. Bimbo, how you doing? Is everything good?
Well, bro. Yeah, everything's good over here.
Everything's
Thanks
Gucci.
to friends like you, thanks to friends like Ray that I see every now and then.
All
Well, I
right.
see Ray a lot actually. So
Okay.
yeah, thanks to I'm good over here. How about you, Ray?
I'm doing pretty good. I gotta say, big shout out to the wife at home. She makes sure I'm always at least in a positive mind state, or if I'm ever, because I feel like I don't get depressed as much. I get angry. So like if I get stressed in a mind state or angry, she knows how to kind of calm me down, let me know that everything's going to be okay, and then just pace myself. Sometimes I stress at trying to achieve things a little too fast, and I got to realize it takes time to get to where you want to get to, but yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
All right. All right. So
How
Ray,
about you, brother?
what? Oh, me? Yeah,
We
yeah,
haven't heard
me.
from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, mentally, I'm doing great. It's been a lot going on, but I mean, we're built for this, man. Like, it's crazy. I'm in America, and I'm just glad to be here. But you know, coming from a place like Nigeria, where it's a lot. Just going out is crazy. You get sunburnt. You might get hit by a bus. You
True
might you
that.
might get robbed. You might like. There's too many crazy. I mean, America has its own issues, of course, but it's just too much. It's kind of easier. So life is good right here with me. Life is great. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to say something. Ray, you said you're married. You said wifey. Is that or just a term you use?
Well, it's the term I use. She's
Oh,
long
okay.
term girlfriend, but
Uh,
basically married.
she's still
At
yeah.
that point,
She's
we're
wife.
common
Oh, okay.
government.
Okay.
You feel
All
me?
right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Actually, Ray, let's get you to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. Tell the our viewers
Well,
about yourself.
my name is Ray. Ray Nadoli. I'm from Rwanda. Rwandan boy, raised here in Canada. I'm a videographer. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. Had a couple years of wanting to be a rapper. Not saying that that's gone. Hey, I might come back with these bars. You never know. But currently, right now, I'm focused on videography and just kind of becoming a director and a good videographer to start. Those are my steps right now. So I'm watching Bimble as I go. I'm watching the team that we currently have and just trying to pick up as much information as I can. And, maybe one day, you can see me as a lyrical lemonade or something like that.
oh, lyrical
Yeah.
lemonade. That's your stage name.
No. That's a videographer who does some crazy music videos. So
Oh, okay.
that's a standard I'm trying to eventually achieve at one point in my life.
Nah, okay. You know,
Talk
I
about the Millennium
wait,
Mags.
wait. Before that though, let me just ask my question, Bimbo. I checked your Instagram profile, and you have a lot of selfies in there, and I was thinking, are you kind of some kind of rapper or a model or something? And you look like you're 6'9" or something like that. Like you're really tall.
It's all about the angles. Let me tell
The
you, all
angles,
about
right? I was just thinking to myself, like, okay,
He's
you must
pretty
be like,
tall though. He's tall.
oh, okay, because I thought
yeah.
you're like a model or something, and like a rapper, but
Hey,
a model.
feel me?
That's the
Versatile.
vibe I
I'm
was
a
getting.
versatile character. I can model too. If you know some people who need modeling for their clothes, you feel me? I'm
Mm,
available for anything, really. As long as
okay,
there's a dollar figure, behind that, I
it's
can
all
do
about the
whatever you.
Benjamins.
Exactly. You know, that's what I'm about. So when it comes to a medium specifically, I feel like it depends on what era or time that I'm in. That's really what I'll focus in. So like right now, I'd say I want videography and that's what I want to do, but I can say confidently in the next 5, maybe 10 years in total, I'm going to be wanting to do something completely different. So I like to keep my options open and try to do as much as I can, just because like we're limited to a small amount of time on this planet, and if I can leave here knowing I've done more than enough for myself at least, and for the people that I care about, then I'm content. You feel
Mm.
me? Yeah.
You sound like you kind of like matured, but how old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 23 years old.
23, and you sound like you want to
I know, right?
like
When I first met Ray, I was
like
like,
yeah, you've not done
how
it.
old are
You've
you
not.
again?
You sound like you
You
want
know?
to achieve everything in the world before you're 25. Like, no,
Exactly.
man, you still have enough
Exactly.
time, man. You still have enough
Yeah.
time.
But that's the mindset, though.
Yeah,
Like,
well, B's always talking about. He says he needs to be a millionaire in the next 5 years. I'm trying to beat him to it. I'm trying to
ah,
get there in the next 3. You feel me?
I said next
I
year,
mean,
actually.
I'm trying to set the trend. You know?
oh, Bimbo. So Bimbo is not too far away because he's been grinding a lot this past few months. You know, pandemic or no pandemic, things are happening.
That's what's up, man. Yeah.
Things are happening. So Bimbo, you got questions for Ray?
I was gonna ask him to talk about his millennial mag as well. He runs this magazine.
The
Okay.
Millennials Mag is a magazine that took a hiatus that's way longer than it should have. But at one point, I think maybe like 2 years ago, I had a group of friends. Excuse me, I still have this group of friends. That sounded like they either passed away or something. Still have this group of friends. We've just had some things in life happen, so we're not as consistent as we wanted to be. But what we did here in Edmonton is we have a lot of musical artists, a lot of different medium artists, you know, painters, sculptors, poets, so many different people here, but we don't have a support structure that I feel like is necessary to highlight some of these artists. So me and a group of friends, we got together and we created a magazine called the Millennials Mag, and we just made it as a place to interview artists, to give them a platform to remind people like, hey, you know, you can go and support Drake, you can go and support all these other people, which there's nothing wrong with having your favorite artist, but understand that there's also people here who are grinding every day, who are trying to become the next Drake. We're trying to do this, and that there should be a platform. There should be some level of respect for them because of the fact that we're in such a blue collar environment. There's nothing you could do if you're not working in the oil fields or working in their future. That I want to be this artist. I want to be this for the rest of my life. I want to give people that airtime, that presence, so that more people can see their art, more people can see what they do, and you know, we can change up this place, make it like a Hollywood version of Canada, you know, and have a place where you can make it, you can do what you want to do and move forward.
Sounds great. So this magazine, is it digital or is paperback or both?
So in the first year, it was a compilation of both. So what we had initially done, this is including me and my friend Moses and our editor Floyd. What we had done is we put together a hard copy magazine that only showcased the artist's art, and then we had their video interviews online so that you can have a digital aspect of going both ways. So you can have their art in your house if you wanted to, and you can also view the video and see how they think and how they go through their rituals to create things, and maybe that also might inspire you to create some art or follow your dreams.
Okay. So when you
Yeah.
mean artists, you mean like painters, sculptors, or just
Yes.
artists, musicians, or so?
I mean, when I mean artist, I mean any job at a point, if you ever considered getting and you told your parents and they told you was finna be broke,
Oh,
that
okay.
that
So
medium, all
anything
of
in the
those
creative
jobs.
space.
Exactly.
Oh,
Anything
okay.
creative, you know, graphic designers all the way to tattoo artists, anything that you hesitated to take home and tell them you wanted to do this because of the pre-notion that was there, you know, saying that, let's say if I wanted to become a painter and I'm in Africa and I tell my parents that, they're gonna be like, listen man, I'm not paying for school for you to paint. Like, you know, it's a completely different conversation, but I want to open those doors for everyone in general so that there isn't a medium that is limiting. You can't say like I want to be this and someone tells you, well, you're going to be broke. It's I want to be this, and people just say, sure, I want to see you get there. You know, like that's what space or environment I want to create for people.
So how long has this magazine still been running? Is it still
So
available?
right now we've transitioned to being completely digital just because it's been a little harder to get to printing and doing personalized interviews with people due to COVID. So what we're doing now is we just reach out to people and we get them to tell us a small paragraph of why they got into art, what motivates them, and like what keeps them going, basically. And then
Okay.
we condense that and paste that in front of a piece of their art and just help showcase at least their social media for the time being. And then once we
Okay.
can get back to interviewing and being in people's faces and being able to actually hold conversations, we can move back to doing that.
Okay. And you started in wait, when did you start? 2017, you said?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
2017.
So it's been like
Yeah,
4 years. Okay, that's great.
yeah.
That's great. So how much you selling it right now online or like
So
oh you
right
get
now it's free. You can get it right now. You can read about those artists on the Instagram page currently.
Mhm.
But before, what we used to do is we would sell just a magazine for like 10 to 15 bucks, depending on how many pages we had at the time.
Oh, okay. So in terms of scaling, are you on any platforms like Amazon and
Um,
marketplaces like that?
in terms of scaling, it was we were DM to get your magazine. So you DM us, we'll take it to a post office and send it to you, or if you live here in Edmonton, we'll hop in the car and bring it to your house.
Mm. So
Yeah.
you guys haven't thought about putting it on a marketplace?
No, not yet. So we wanted at the time we were dealing with difficulties with printing because we had to create a market plan that fit everybody's financial value at the time. So looking at it, it was $425 to print 15 magazines, and then for what we were selling them for, we would break even to either just completely buying more magazine without a profit margin whatsoever. So it made it impossible for us to be able to then have a budget to put it on to a marketing website or put it somewhere else where they can deal with shipping and all of that. So at the time, I could say we were struggling artists, so we had to figure out ways around that specifically.
Okay, because I asked this question because on Amazon, they have this where you can just put the soft copy on Amazon, and once they order for it, they print it and they sell it. So they charge you for the printing and everything. That when you sell it
Mhm.
for a price that is bigger than the margin of the cost. So at least you
Mhm.
get some profit. That's why I was
Yeah.
asking if you could put it. You don't have to print until they
Until
order
like it's
on
purchased.
yeah, until there's an order or something like that. So Amazon just does that for you. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, see, at the time when we were doing this, we didn't know Amazon had that option in a sense. We had seen
Okay.
people who did something like that, where they would print based on purchase, but to be with them, you had to pay a specific amount of money to have this service available to you. And with paying that amount of money, it wasn't based on how much you've sold; it was to pay to enter in the service, basically. And
Oh.
that's where we were hindered. Our
Oh.
pockets were very light at the time, so we had to just do what we could.
All right. So good. But I mean, but now you have that information, so you should try
Hey,
that
for
out.
sure, for sure.
And would you
Yeah,
definitely people that are listening, if you want to listen, check out their magazine. You should definitely go check it out on his Instagram page, right?
yeah, yeah.
What's your
At the
Instagram page?
Millennials Mag.
Okay,
You can find us at the Millennials Mag.
at the Millennials Band. Okay, okay. Bimbo, you put that in the description so that just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
All right. You got any question for?
Ray? No, no question specifically. I just wanted us to talk a little bit before. I know he has a limited time. Ray has, he has another gig to get to.
Okay.
I just wanted us to talk a little bit about the shooting that happened. In the last 2 days?
Are you in tune with like the American
Yeah,
culture, the news, and everything?
It's fucked up. Wait, can I swear on here?
yeah,
Sure,
totally.
sure, sure.
Bro, I can't necessarily say that it was 100% intentional because I wasn't in that person's like shoes, but to think that a traffic stop that was caused by the government, so necessarily like he had a warrant out for his arrest because of the fact that when they sent out his Zoom court date, they sent it to the wrong address, leading him to miss his court date. And then a warrant is then issued for his arrest, then that warrant leads to him basically dying. You start to ask yourself, at what point does accountability get taken? right? And I understand that, like, yes, maybe it was a harmless mistake. Well, we can't say harmless because someone lost their life, but there was a mistake that was involved in whatever weapon they were supposed to grab. They were yelling taser and they ended up grabbing the pistol. I feel like it still doesn't justify anything whether it was a mistake, because you have to, I was reading some of the comments on the videos and it's like there's people who work in the medical field and they don't get the opportunity to make a mistake, right? Like if you make a mistake in the middle of a surgery and this person dies, you get sued for malpractice, right? So why is it that a police officer makes a mistake in this situation? We need some level of accountability that goes with that. And I don't mean just like a suspension or put on desk leave or just getting fired and they get to leave with severance, because like if you fire me and I get to leave with some money at the end, I'm not really upset. You gave me a grace period to find another job, right? Like that's when you take someone's life and that's your only punishment. I feel like I don't know. It's impossible to value that that's a place where as us as Africans we view as where we are supposed to go to give ourselves an opportunity at life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. America is tough to black. I mean, so-called black people.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, man, the truth about it is the black men are like at the bottom of the totem pole. Like they don't want you to rise in power or whatever. If they see you, you're like a cockroach. They want to just if they kill you, doesn't even matter. Like really, doesn't matter. Worst case scenario, you might just get fired. You're not going
Yeah.
to jail. Nothing. I
Yeah.
found out today that the teacher of the guy that died, um, was George Floyd's girlfriend. Like because it was in the
Oh,
same
really?
state. Yeah, the same state.
Yeah, I said it was like
George.
10 kilometers away or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's George Floyd's trial is going on right now. To tell you that these people don't care. Like it's America. Like at the end of the day, you march, you march, you march. The owners of the Black Lives Matter, they will cash out. they I heard that the lady that owns Black Lives Matter, she bought a house the other day for 1 point something million in California, and for like 5 years she had like five houses, and people are there marching. Like it's economic power that can only uplift black people out of the bottom of where they are. Just demanding or trying to march for the police to have some accountability is it's not gonna cut it
Yeah,
because
matching doesn't really solve anything.
your oppressor does not want you two guys to be equal. You can't be
But
be
here's
trying
the
to match
here's
for
the
your
problem
oppressor
though.
to make you equal.
Here's the problem though, right? So if people don't march, the conversations aren't had and we go back to being forgetful or forgiving, because that's one thing that I feel like black people do a lot is they're very forgiving and forgetful to things that have happened. And I'm not saying that it's all black people in general. I'm not trying to just be anti-Semitic. I'm just saying that I feel like marching is the only option they have, because all other alleys of change haven't done anything. And it's not to say that marching has done much, but it's saying it's an outcry. It's being able to at least go and try to voice your opinion to some extent. And it may not do as much, but at least being able to get out there and meet some allies, meet some people who are of a different race but at least think the same as you, makes you realize like maybe I'm not going crazy. Because one thing I noticed in America is that like here when we had our Black Lives Matter protest, there was a lot of white people who understood the problem, who wanted to deal with the problem. And even as we talk, like me and Bimble are we're talking with EPS to create videos that help educate people, one, on like how to deal with EPS so that you have positive outlooks at all times. And it's not like as if people interacting with EPS is the issue. It's more of like how can we create an easier mind state for people when they're around police, and how can we create a mentality for police officers so that when they are around these people they're not giving off a certain energy that can make them feel oppressed or scared or in any way hurt. So to say that marching specifically doesn't help, I feel like it depends on the location. Specifically, I feel like in America, marching has been a thing that has happened so much, but you don't see the change or the outcome that happens. But as someone who was a part of the marching here, sitting and seeing other people, white people, say, "Hey, like I do believe in white privilege. I don't think you're crazy. I do see that when I walk into like a dollar store, I don't get followed around by the clerks because I'm expected to steal just because of my skin tone, right? Like there's all of these things that they will show, they will agree with you on, and it makes you at least somewhat. I'm not saying it justifies anything, but it gives you some level of content. Because I hate when you tell somebody, yo, like I'm dealing with this racial thing that's happening, and they're like, oh, you don't have to bring race into it. It had to be a coincidence. It had to be this, and it's like you don't understand because you're not in my shoes. You don't know
Mhm.
what it's like, and it doesn't affect you in any way, so you don't see it. And that's where at least I can say I value that outcome. You know.
Well, my thing is, marching to me is kind of, you're coming from a weak perspective, because at the end of the day, y- they're still going to oppress you. And to me, telling a white person about my black problem is almost like I'm seeking their approval. Like, I don't I don't care what their opinion, whether I'm going through my thing. If I have economic power, I can force people's hand. You have to. You can't. You can't ask for power and they give it to you. You have to demand it. You have to take it. So if
But
black
hold on.
people have the
So here's the
economic
thing, though.
power
Yeah.
to elevate, majority of black people to a certain status, all these things are not going to be happening now, because
But
somebody
here's
in
the thing.
position
Here's
will be able to call them into account because of their economic status.
And see, here's where I completely I'm not negating that whatsoever. I'm just saying that for a majority of, like, if once you have like what is it, Vince Staples says is best, where he's like, I'm just a nigga until I get some money and then I'm Mr. Nigga. So even with money at some point there will still be those challenges
No,
of being
the
accepted
thing is,
due
it's
to
not
who
it's
you
not
are.
about the money. It's about the
Yeah.
mass. It's like
Yeah,
The
it's
yeah.
everybody has money. It's not just one guy. Just like this
not
George
just
Floyd
one,
thing,
not like 10
they will
people
See,
on
for
everybody will
you,
match, but it's
right? It's
only one
majority of
family that
like,
will get 10 million. Like if
no, no,
everybody has,
completely. So
you
here's the
know,
thing. For me, I'm saying this in the aspect of like, we all can't say we're all going to have money to be able to take over this aspect. There's
we
always going to
can.
be a percentage.
That's
No,
the
no, hold on. Hear
thing.
me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
We
Hear me out.
can.
There's
Don't sell
always
yourself
going to be.
short.
No, I'm not selling myself short. I'm saying as a population, there's always going to be a percentage of rich and a percentage of poor. But how we affect a generation of people is how we affect their mentality and their way of thinking. I believe that racism isn't something that you just born thinking, right? It has to be something that's taught to you over time. And you're right, economically speaking, that plays a big thing because if you look at it historically, when you go out and you see someone who's less fortunate than you, there's a weird mind state that plays at fact where you just think that somehow it's their fault that they're less fortunate than you. They've done something to be in a much weaker position than you are. So there's this level of judgment that can then play a part. For example, the idea of racism, right? You see a black person who's not doing as well, automatically I'm going to stereotype him as someone who steals, as someone who does this. And it's not to say that I was taught to think like this. It's just, I mean, it's not to say that I was born thinking like this, but I was taught over time. So for those other people who will not eventually get that financial value, for them to eventually still garner that same respect and that same humanity in a sense as everybody else, is you have to affect the way people think generationally speaking, right? I'm noticing that a lot of Gen Z, I'm not saying cancel culture answers question or is the answer to everyone's question, but that micromanaging of how people are thinking and how people are acting, at least in public, is leading to a little less prejudice coming out, but not saying that censorship is the answer to everything, but changing that mind state ahead of time in our children and people around and having them grow and be the leaders of society and having a positive mind state for every race, then at that point I feel like we can lead to abolishing slavery. But I mean, it's not abolishing racism, sorry, but you
Slavery.
you get you get where I'm
Slavery of the
coming from, right?
See, I get where you're coming from, but me, I like to
Mm.
talk about solutions.
Yeah.
That's why when this Black Lives Matter was happening, me and Mimbo were like, it's not gonna work. There's no
there's no,
economic plan, there's no blueprint. You're just marching. You're not making any demands. So what I'm saying is there's a systematic, like there's a whole power play going on. It's not just the police. There's media. Like there's a lot of things, information, the school system, that all these things are reinforcing the stereotypes of racism every day.
Yeah.
You know, so
you're
you know,
right.
for black
You're right.
people to you know elevate their status, they have to
We
build their
need
own
a
media,
lot of us.
build their own schools. That's what I'm
need
saying.
our-
You need
put
economic
ourselves
power
in
because
an
you need to
economic
build
power.
your own things. Because all we're saying is CNN, the white man's TV, Hollywood, the white man's video. So they whatever they show you is what you see. You know, if they want to show you a man with a dog face all day, that's what you're gonna see, a man with a dog face. You know, whatever they want. If they don't like the way you talk on social media, they fire you. You're out of a job. You're broke. You know, so that's why it's easier to cancel people that are in Hollywood or whatever. But if you have your own economic status, they cancel you, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're still gonna make your money. Look at Nick Cannon. They canceled him for a second. He begged like a dog for his job back because he doesn't have economic status. Look at someone like Ice Cube. They almost canceled Ice Cube now, but it didn't even matter. It didn't even move anything. Ice Cube didn't, because Ice Cube has his own money. Like, you can't cancel Ice Cube. You know, he's not gonna beg. He's not gonna change. He's like a rock. He's solid. So that's what I'm saying when I talk about economic power. You know, until black people have all these infrastructures in place, just marching, it's not gonna cut it. Just trying to appeal to the white man, trying to explain to him, he doesn't care because he's not going through that struggle. At the end of the day, he will just sympathize with you. He will go back to his white, his dog, his white dog and his white wife, and have a beer and watch CNN. And then or watch whatever white sitcom they like. You know, so it is what it is. You know, I'm just saying that we just have to elevate ourselves. You know, elevate our people, so that we can move out of this bottom pit that we are in right now.
I mean, to some extent, I feel like you are right, because you look at the hip hop industry has been dominated ridiculously by black people for a very long time. But I feel like when it comes to the financial gain that's coming from them, it doesn't necessarily equate to what they've done.
There's a white guy. There's a white guy that's a gatekeeper there taking all the money.
Like,
Who are the
even
owners
look in
of
terms of
Def
ownership,
Jam and all
right?
those?
Like, look in terms of ownership, right? Like, even the ones that all the black-owned record labels too, right? They're still under.
You don't even know the names of the white men that own those labels. Have you ever heard of
you don't know.
Lucian Grange? Do you even know who that is? Like, but yeah, he owns almost half of the music labels.
Yeah,
he's a white man. And, you know, and these rappers are there. They have billions and billions of dollars. They control so many things. So if you have money and power, and we're living in a capitalist society, it's all, if you don't have capital, you're nothing. You're nothing.
So hold up. What do you think about Kanye being the richest black man in America?
That is a false statement, though. It's not necessarily true. He's not the richest black man in America.
I mean, as of now,
no, I think he's
who's richer in America?
I think he's actually the richest black man in America.
At 6.6 billion, he ran up. I don't know who's higher.
But the thing about Kanye is, man, it's just one guy. You know, it's just one guy. Kanye just to create. Like, I didn't believe it at first, but I thought about it. Okay, he has all these businesses, but it's just one guy. It's not really going to move the needle. We need more billionaires and black billionaires, more of that. You know, just one person is not gonna. Just like,
and he's not
Donald
even
Trump,
like you said, but like you said, due to the fact that there's gatekeepers limiting black people from being billionaires, how do we make our way around that?
Okay, so that's a big. Okay,
did you made a
no,
good
because
example?
you're right. You're right about having to gain economical power to eventually be able to get a seat at the table, right? But how do you then get to somewhere you're being blocked from, right?
Well, you got to take it by force. Like for instance, now Kanye is what $6 billion or whatever.
Yeah,
he's still shouting that he doesn't have a seat on the board. You know, like he doesn't have a seat on the board on Adidas. He doesn't have a seat on the board on Gap.
Did you made an example?
Jay-Z is making moves and is getting seats at boards. Like, so it's the moves. I don't know if the opportunity might come, you know, for you to make this move, and if you don't take it, it goes away. So, you know, with Kanye, it's just.
So if you look at like the first 100 richest people in the world, right? Did you look this up a couple of episodes ago, right? So the 99%, if I'm right,
The 100%,
the 100% is a black man, which is the richest black man in the world, right? So there's only one black person in that list, and it's the 100th person.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, right?
And
So
the difference between
now,
him and the number one is probably like a good 116%.
and then here's the issue though.
Their billions.
And here's the issue though. If he even gets a seat at the table, his voice, how does it equate to
It's
the other
very
99?
minimal. They won't even listen to him. He's at the back. He's at the back seat.
Exactly.
It's close to the door. It's like the door is right next to him.
So the door is still open on him. He's not sure if he's going to be sticking around long enough. So now the question is, the question comes down to then how do we implicate that change if we're not allowed in the changing room?
We got to build our own changing rooms.
We got to build our own shit.
We got to build our own shit. Because
but that's the issue though. Shit. So we aren't gonna be allowed to build our own shit because that's where the policies. Hold on, let me finish. This is something Sterling told me. There's things that are implicated to limit us from being able to get the shit that we want. So in his position, he owns a condo, but there's policies that are always being put in place to affect his living standard because in short, they don't want him living there, right? So if you look at it, he's went about it the way he's supposed to. He done paid for all his shit. He owns it now. And now there's policies being put in his place to affect his ownership and lead him to not owning that property anymore. So now you have to look at the gatekeepers have already created statutes that already limit us from even moving forward to eventually ever getting that seat at the table. Now
so
you're saying take it by force, but now if you take it by force, you're then branded the angry black man or the non-voiceable, non-reasonable black person. Now that person, last time I checked, is a little harder to get a job. It's a little harder to equate these things that you need to move forward in society. Now you're saying build your own society.
Yeah.
Right. But it's hard to build that completely from scratch. How do we equate all black people from the society they're already in?
It's hard.
It's really not that hard. All we have to do is come together. Think about it. If you go back and
that's what I'm saying. Right? There's policies that are limiting us from coming together. But hear me out. If I control the media,
right? It was built from scratch. America was.
But hear me out. B. If I control the media and I see y'all coming together, it's not hard for me to spin a narrative to split y'all apart.
Yeah, but look at all of these different things. Look at it this way. But look at it this way, though. If they don't want you and they put all this economic, power that has got all these things that are gonna hinder you from getting to that place where you want to be, right? Why don't you just go build that place where they call a shithole, like they build every civilization that has been number one in history? From like go back in history, every civilization.
Because the moment you defer from society's rules, you are branded a terrorist and then you're murdered.
But you're not deferring from any rules. No rules say you can't take your money, or a group of people can't say they want to go build something. There's no rules that stops you from that.
But look at America and their idealisms on communism, right? There was a rule in Vietnam that said, y'all share what you guys have to grow as a society. America said no. They literally said, no. We only believe in capitalistic gain. We only believe that only whoever works gets what they get. You don't get to share that with your family. So we're going to come to Vietnam. Let me finish. America then said, screw your ideals, went to Vietnam and started a war. So you have to look at the fact that you can't even move somewhere and have a mind state that's different from the general population. Because the moment you do, a country will come in on a peacekeeping mission, right? Or on a retrieving nuclear weapons mission, talking about all of the wars currently going on in the Middle East, right? And they will implement their ideologies until you either accept or you're just continuously a terroristic organization. So we're going to fight your country and take your resources until you have nothing left. So now, how do we implicate that power? How do we get out of that?
All we need to do is just come together, literally.
See, what may I propose is this.
If Africa comes together as a whole, trust me, we have enough resources. We have enough people.
Yeah, but the thing about
how many leaders have tried that and been assassinated? How many leaders have tried that and been assassinated?
No,
this is a new world, right? This is all new. This is a new world we're living in right now. Everything has changed.
Wait, right? What I'm saying is we don't even have to move back to Africa. What I'm saying
That's what
is
I'm saying.
where
Like
we are, where
the
you
ones
are.
that are there themselves, if they come together, we can build Africa in such a way
No,
that
I'm not even talking about Africa right now. I'm talking about America in context of America. You can still build your own community and your own media company, your own construction company, your own
yeah,
But then you know what
your
happens
the
the
own
moment you
land,
do
Indians
your
that?
do
own.
it.
Hold on. Let me tell you what happens the
The
moment you do that.
Italians do
The
it.
moment you build something of your own and it follows a different style or rules, a Karen is gonna pull up and tell you to go back to your own country if you don't want to speak English, if you don't want to work the way we work, if you don't
Nobody's
want to
gonna
do
listen to
what
her
this
now.
country
Nobody's gonna care
does.
about her.
Yeah, but
Like,
look at like the
you feel me?
Italians, right? The Italians did it, right?
No, the truth about it
Yeah,
is a lot of other tribes are doing it. There's Chinatown. You want to go to Chinatown,
Yeah, in
or
every
you want to go
country
to
in the
the
world.
Jewish community, or you want to go to the Amish community. They have their own communities that they come together. Because if you think about it, the Jews, they were like ostracized for a long time, but they came together and built. They put their money together and built their own stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Their own businesses. So
The
until
Indians do it too.
yeah, every community does it. So until black people come together and build their own things, you're not going.
That's
You
all we
see,
need
you
to do
have
is
your
just
own
come
police,
together.
you have your own courts, you have your own everything. You don't have to be seeking approval from no white man. Like
but see,
for
that's
instance,
the
now
thing
you
though.
have
You
your own
can't.
city.
So think about it in Canada. In Canada, if I own land, like if I own a piece of land, I can't just implement different governmental rules on that land. It doesn't
No, see,
necessarily work like that.
the thing is, if you do some research, you can own it. There's a square feet of land that if you own, it becomes a little town. You don't get what I'm saying. If you buy enough land, you can build a town.
Yes, I understand
You
that,
start
but
a
you
charter.
understand,
You build
like,
your own water
listen.
system. You
Yes,
build your own
I
like
understand all
Sims.
of that, but there will still always be the aspect of like provincial law, right? I'm still in a country that is like has a queen, has a prime minister, and has these laws placed ahead of time to still control whatever land I have, right?
What kind of control are they gonna have? You see,
The,
you can.
bro, it'll be the
It's bare
same.
land. It's
It'll
not
be
like
the
you're a
same
condo where you
bullshit.
have homeowners association. It's your land. It's your land. It's not
But
like a
that's what I'm saying. Even if it's your
community.
land, even if you think about it like this, okay, there's no homeowners association. There's you. Let's say you only have black people there, sure. But the idea of like saying, okay, I want my own police system and we're gonna have our
Mhm.
own laws,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily work when you're in a country that's already founded on specific laws.
No,
Those
no,
laws
you're gonna follow
will,
the laws. You're gonna follow the laws, but
yeah, but
it's
those
gonna
laws
be
are
your
already in
own.
place to make us lose. So how do you change them?
What kind of laws are
No, no,
gonna
no.
make
But
you
I
follow?
get both sides
There's,
of the story. So
yeah,
basically, what they just trying to say is like things like justice system, right? You have your own law, like your own, like the community. For instance, you build a community, then you have a law, a law firm, not a law firm. What do they call it?
like
Like a
it's a
A
sovereignty.
courthouse.
I'm pretty sure.
courthouse.
If I remember in social class, it's like you're creating your own governmental areas, like a sovereign land, right?
Yeah,
But I don't think you
in
can do that.
America, like you have
No, I
every
know.
state
Maybe in
has its
America
own
it's different,
laws.
but I don't know if in Canada you can create sovereign land anymore. I feel like it'll automatically be governed by the government.
No, as long as you're there, it's governed by the government. That's normal. But you can still create your own state laws and whatever, your own community. It's because it's a big enough land for a community to have his own water system, his own sewer system, his own court. But you have to follow the laws of the land you're in because that's the umbrella. But at the same time,
Mhm.
you control the police, you police yourselves, you have your own food marketplace, like your own water system. Because if you think about it, it's people that are killing. It's not like God. It's the people that are putting all these laws in place. They are still changing the laws every day. The other day they changed some laws in Georgia for voting rights. It's people now. It's white people. But if it's black people that are there, they change the laws again. They change these laws all the time. I mean,
And
the
that's one of the
constitution is
things we
still
need to
there,
start
but
doing too. Also, is like if we can't get enough, if we can't get into the door, exactly, that's the only option we have. If we can't get into the
you
enough
have to
of us,
build
because
your
like one or two or three of us in the door is not enough
It's not
to
even
actually
enough. It's
have
just like
our
Donald
voices
Trump
be heard.
releasing 2-3 people from jail. It's not there are hundreds
It's
of
not,
thousands of
yeah.
people were I've been incarcerated. It's just going to release 2-3 people. What's that gonna do?
Yeah, but that's because those 2-3 people were famous and endorsed him for
Yeah.
another presidential campaign.
So
Did he
that's the
win?
thing. If they
No,
won't
but he
let you
kept
in
his
the door,
promise
what other choice
to
do
let
you
him
have?
out.
Because you can't keep begging. Then you
You
go
can't
build
keep
your
begging. You
But see
can't keep
yeah,
begging.
it comes
start
down to the
building your
idea of
power
leverage, right?
gradually.
So you look at the people who got out
Exactly.
of prison,
It's
they were
leverage.
able to
That's my
leverage
point.
their
Yeah.
power. But see, yes, I understand what you're saying, but that's what I'm coming down to is how do we leverage this power? But honestly, I gotta come back on this, or at least I gotta call y'all and have this conversation because
Oh
I'm
yeah, you gotta
babbling.
be.
Yeah,
You gotta
you
come
got
back on this for
you
sure.
got you
Yeah,
gotta
but for
bounce. You
real,
gotta
like
bounce. It's all good.
very, very educational though. Like I gotta say, I learned a lot from you guys. So big shout out. Thank you guys so much for having me
Yeah.
on. So
Thanks
All
for
right,
coming
man.
on the
Thanks.
podcast today.
Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks
no, for sure.
thanks for coming, man. We appreciate you,
Yeah.
man.
Shout out your social media, how people can reach you and stuff as well.
Catch me at seeking_greatness. You feel me? Doing the most that I can. Like he said, my pictures look like I'm modeling. I'm cute. You feel me? Hey, but pull up. We have fun. We be posting shit on there. But yeah, and then you can follow our production page also at Orchard Lane Media. We're gonna be dropping some crazy titles. I don't know if I can name them yet because it's still in the editing process, but some crazy stuff is coming out to highlight the city of Edmonton.
Great. All right, man. Thank you very
All right, yo.
much. We
Much
appreciate you.
appreciated, you guys. You guys have a wonderful time.
All
All
right.
right, peace, bro.
Peace.
Yep. And that was
Wow.
our special guest,
Yeah, that was an
Ray
interesting
and Dolly.
guest. Very interesting guest.
Yeah, he's
This our it all comes down to economic power at the end of the
it
day.
really does. In all honesty, it
Because
really does.
you
We
keep
don't have the
begging,
voice. That's why.
keep marching. White man will just sit on his throne and say, send the National Guard and wipe them out. I don't want like yeah, because you have no leverage. What do you have? So they're still doing George Floyd's trial. They shot another person.
See, that's this is
The same city.
I should have made this example while he was still here too. Like the reason why cops were so afraid to actually shoot like a white person, like in the same rates at which they are shooting black kids and black people, is that there's enough white voices that would speak up. Right, the police.
It's not even the speaking
right?
up. Like, there's enough white people in power.
Yeah. Like they would nobody. They're not going to ignore it, right?
Yeah, there's enough white people in power, so it's going to be tough. That's
it would
why
touch too many people for them not to speak up.
Yeah, in 3 weeks, a white guy first is shot. He shot at a spar and killed like 8 people. A white guy, and when the cops came. They caught him alive. He had killed 8 people. The next week, another white guy went to a supermarket and killed like 10 people. They caught him alive. Not dead though, alive. The 3rd week, a black guy drove into the capital of America, brandishing a knife. He killed one officer. They killed him. He wasn't taken alive. He injured one officer and killed one. He wasn't taken alive. A black man, and they blamed it on the Nation of Islam. So at the end of the day, it's because there's enough white people in power, and they get to do whatever they want. And they don't want no black man to be in power. They prefer a gay black man or whatever, or or gay black woman or whatever. They don't want no black heterosexual black man to be in power because they know it might lead to some kind of takeover. So it is what it is, man.
Wait, I just read something just now. There's only 7 black billionaires in the US.
7. So what are we talking about? 7. So that's why it's almost insignificant if someone like Kanye West is a billion, Jay-Z is a billion. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really move any. It doesn't do anything. You need more. And the only way more can happen is if a group of people start building their own stuff, like your own media, your own real estate,
surprised,
more
actually.
education,
7 black billionaires
more
in
schools.
America.
Because if you think about it, the school system too is kind of racist. Like, how many?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have any black schools now. They're teaching you. They're teaching you to become employees. All of you, all the kids. They're not
And
teaching
it's funny.
anybody to become
Five
owners.
of the five billionaires are famous. After so Tyler Perry, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey. Number two is David Stewart, IT guy, and then Robert F. Smith, which is black man. They still claim they compare between him and Kanye West.
Yeah,
I'm
so
surprised. Wow.
that's the whole point, man. You gotta build your own stuff. Stop seeking the white man's approval. you know. Yeah. So what other topics do we have today, man? DMX passed away at the age of 50.
Man.
I mean, we kind of knew that
RIP.
was gonna happen, man. RIP to DMX
Yeah, it
because
was
it was in a
expected,
it
but
was in a critical condition. So yeah, yeah,
that was like the biggest thing of the whole week too.
yeah.
know.
That was the biggest thing of the whole week, And DMX was a very spiritual guy. Everybody missed him.
Mm-hmm.
He was always praying for people.
Prayers everywhere.
Yeah,
Prayers everywhere. Everywhere it goes, always praying.
yeah. Well,
Undeniable. That's
rest in peace, DMX. Rest in peace, DMX. What else, man? What else is going on? Oh, today I read that on BBC Africa, Burkina Faso's ex-president Blaise Compaoré is to be tried for the assassination of his predecessor Thomas Sankara during the 1987 coup.
Ooh.
Murder does not have. There's no statutory limitation for murder. There's no statute of limitation for murder, man. So yeah, that's crazy, man.
Wow.
Also, in Nigerian news, EFCC has arrested former Imo State Governor Rocha Sokorocha.
Okorocha.
He's probably stepped on the wrong eggs or the wrong legs, and now they want to take him out.
They want to take him out.
You got something else?
Let me see. What do I have? Still talking Nigeria. Falls dropped a Squander remix featuring Niniola, Kamumen Fela, Mpuru, and Sefa.
Yeah, you started this episode killing people's names.
They are not English names. Well, Sefa, I pronounced his name is Sefa. Mr. Easy also releases a short film titled The Dawn. Mr. P talks about reality show and 8 more things about him. So I guess it's been, Mr. P. That's Paul, right? Or is Mr. P Peter self?
I don't even know which one is which, man. Mr. P, Peter, Mr. P, Paul, man. P Square is they are done. They are done.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear that? What?
He dropped a project not long ago.
Yeah. He dropped a project. Yeah, I saw it. Did you hear that Jackie Chan gave all his investments away? He didn't want to give it to his son because he said his son might squander it or something like that.
Really?
Over $300 million. Give it to charity.
Wasn't Bill Gates doing the same thing too?
I mean, Bill Gates gave up half of his wealth away, but man, his son must have really fucked up.
Big time.
For him to do that, he must have been seeing some nasty traits. Maybe that one doesn't.
Well, maybe he's just terrible with money. Maybe it's just one of those oh, my dad is rich.
Yeah, just sit down at home all day.
Next year, after a few months, this guy is wrecked, in and out of prison, just partying every day.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy. Yeah,
that would totally set him straight.
Give it all
Just
away.
be like, really? Money's coming to an end? Damn.
Go get a job, buddy. Go get a job. Oh man, what we got? Nothing else?
Whiskey also dropped a music video for Essence featuring
Oh
Thames.
yeah, I saw that. I saw that video featuring Thames.
Thames. Is
Yeah.
it Thames or Thames? I see.
Them general overseas, prophecy coming to pass.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, all right.
That
La
was
Shmurda.
World.
All right, I got Tochi Bedford featuring Cruz Santino. Disintegrate. All right, all right, all right. That's Tochi Bedford featuring Cruz Santino. Disintegrate.
Integrate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Seems we've come to the end of
Looks.
another
Yep,
episode.
yep. Come to an end of another episode of the Dab Podcast. Any housekeeping items? Bimbo?
Yeah, 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 yeah. To all our fans, you can send us an email at dappodcast@gmail.com. You can send us a tweet on Twitter at dappodcast1. We're also on IG at dappodcast. You can also find us on Radio Republic, Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast at Dab Podcast. And for my final words, there's enough love to go around. There's more than enough love to go around the world. All you have to do is share.
All right, there you have it. There you have it. My last words as usual. Man, the Joe Budden podcast is about to disintegrate.
Yeah, what's going on?
Maul and Rory are still not back. Almost a month they've been on hiatus.
Yeah, it's like a deliberate move.
Yeah, so based on the words of Joe Budden, life is a series of moments and moments pass, and let's make this one last like it's all that we have. Yeah. Thank you guys. I beat you guys. I do. Odabo. Odaro.
Peace out, guys.
Peace. Peace.